Hello, good day, professionals, and welcome to another class of quantitative analysis. Ultimately, today shall be the beginning of our class on quantitative analysis, and I hope you are going to enjoy the class. Stay tuned and let's enjoy ourselves. Today, we shall be discussing everything that has to pertain to quantitative analysis and why the need for us to study quantitative analysis. So let's get started. From the name quantitative, when they said something is quantitative, it means it's having a quantity. What is a quantity? Quantity is a number. When we say quantity, we are talking of a what? A number. Just as if you are saying population. How much? The numbers of data is what we refer to as what? Quantity. Analysis is the summary, the calculation, the report, and also forming a decision on the large data that you've generated. That is what sum up to be what? Quantitative analysis. Quantitative, the large data that you're having. Analysis, when you process that data, after processing it, you were able to summarize the data you have processed. Having summarized it, then it becomes a useful information and making a timely decision with it. Then we are talking of what? Quantitative analysis. So let's start in full. When we say quantitative analysis, it is imperative for us to note that quantitative techniques is a very powerful tool that we use both in management, in organization, in business, in science as well. And we actually use it mostly in production. They also use it to maximize profit. We use it to minimize costs. And we use it for some production methods, which can actually be oriented or be accomplished of a certain predetermined objective. When we want to achieve some objective, let's take a look for a bank. Let's take a look at the bank. A bank do not just achieve their objective. They set a target. And that target that they set, we call it a predetermined objective. They already conceived that in the next 5 years, we want to have a minimum numbers of customer base of 5 million customers. If they're having 5 million customers, for instance, this is the importance of quantitative techniques or quantitative analysis. We're having a 5 million customers. This is what we presume. And these 5 million customers, at least, if they deposited 1,000 naira in their bank account, ultimately, we are having what? 5 million revenue. And note that out of these 5 million customers, we still have one that we deposited more than 1,000. Likewise, we might not all the customers we also deposited, but at least 1 million customers are bringing in 1 million revenue. It is this data that they've already predetermined. We have set an objective. We now use a quantitative techniques to actually solve that objectives that we have created. Oh, okay, how many locations do we have in Lagos State? Those locations, can we just divide? How many numbers of customers can we get from this? Can we get from east? Can we get from west? Can we get from north? Can we get from south? They will now use what we call a quantitative method of analysis. You will see bank, they will draw a bar chart, they will draw a pie chart, they will also draw some diagram in order to explain how they are going to achieve that objective. This is being possible through the use of what we call quantitative techniques or quantitative analysis. And this tells us how important this course is and how easy it is to pass. In most of the recent past, quantitative representation are actually a degree of success, because if you are just talking and you are not putting that objective in the diagram, they might not actually see the focus. They might not see the picture of what you are actually discussing. They might not see the picture of your plan. They might not see the picture of what you are demanding. But if you represent it in a graph, that if you have 5 million customers, presently our revenue is 2 million. This is our revenue now in 2020. In 2021, it grew to this point. But if you can improve our customer base, we are going to have up to this portion. Now you've represented it in a diagram. It will be much easier. Even anybody that did not go to school and they see this is 2020, they see this is 2021, they see this is 2022. They will know that you are actually talking about an objective. Likewise, in this complexity of the modern business operation that we find ourselves through the innovative disruption known as technology disruption, we all know how technology has actually played part. So the high cost of technology, material, and labor, as well as the pressure from each competitor, has now made it a demanding for quantitative analysis, because it allows some important decisions to be made, and they all contributed to the difficulties in making decisions for effective business operation. Likewise, because of the difficulties in the economy, it has actually called for the need of decision makers to apply quantitative approach to every given problems. That is why you will see that where the world of accounting is going now is data analysis, and the world itself are going into what we call data analysis. It's because of the call for the decision making. Okay, all these are just the explanation, and they are there for us to actually go through. It is important for us to note that a quantitative techniques can actually be viewed as a scientific approach to decision making with a specific emphasis on quantification rather than qualification of decision variable. What quantitative techniques focuses on is on a large volumes of data. Quantitative analysis focuses on large information. If you are operating in 1,000 customers, there's no need. You can actually use some little mathematics to solve that. But when you are operating on billion customers, million customers, you need the data analysis. That is why most of us are not even using manual. How much manual Excel can we compute with large data? That is why we are now calling for robotic. That is why we are now calling for Power BI. In Excel, if you give Excel some functions to perform, in fact, if you perform a pivot row, a pivot data, you do all these Excel forms, it has limitation. If the information, the data is too much, it will not give you the accurate information you want. And that is why we are now having Power BI, we are having automation, we are having data analysis, and the rest. It's as a result of the large data. And what does all those accounting pack, all those things actually uses? They use what we call quantitative approach, which we call quantitative techniques, or we call it quantitative analysis. In a nutshell, we should just know that quantitative analysis involves the summary of a large data and its analysis. Apart from all what you have said earlier, it is important for us to note that quantitative techniques are more valuable in an area where there is what? Planning, forecasting, control, and evaluation. The major importance of data analysis, of quantitative analysis, is planning. Quantitative analysis is one of the important tools we use for planning. Forecasting, it predicts the future. It compares the previous performance with the current and that of the future to come. Using the data that we are given, we should know that this is our expectation for the foreseeable future, for the foreseeable years. Control, we use data analysis as a control measures for decision making. And evaluation, we use it to evaluate the performance of an organization. We even use it to evaluate the performance of employees. In a typical environment, in a typical business environment, the measure of KPI, key performance indicator, is through the use of analysis. We use quantitative analysis. And after, when we use it, we represent it in a bar chart or a pie chart to actually know the performance operations in our business. Likewise, if you want to evaluate the performance of an employee, we also use that as well. And it is an area of interest to us to note that quantitative analysis or quantitative techniques usually involve two tools. As I've said earlier, it involves mathematical tools and it also involves evaluation. It involves mathematical and statistics. That is the two tools that you used. The two tools that we use for quantitative techniques is mathematical tools and statistics too. And during the course of our lecture, we shall be discussing the two. We call this mathematical model and statistical model. You're talking the same thing. Anything that has to do with quantitative is either mathematical or statistical. Mathematics are the one that uses statistics are the one that uses data. Maybe having mean, median, mode, probability, variances, and the rest. A priori expectation is part of it. Is the taking? And for mathematics, it's where you'll be seeing variance and the rest. So it is the aim of our discussion to concentrate on the application of these two tools, because throughout the course of our lecture, we shall be discussing about the mathematical tools and that of the statistical tools. We are using the two models, but I would like to start from the first one, which we call statistical tools, during the course of our lecture, before we now move to mathematical tools. Okay, both the two tools are very simple, but let's start with statistical. Most of us, when you hear statistic, usually don't run. This is business statistic and not science statistic. We have management statistic, business statistic, and we have mathematical statistics. The one that other science do are what we call science statistics. That's why you'll be hearing statistics in chemistry, statistics in physics. Though they make use of probability and every other tools. We have finance statistics too. But that of the business is just the one that are related to mathematics. They are so simple. They are what you can get. They are what you do. They are what you use in your everyday activities. Some of you are even doing statistics without even knowing you are doing it. Just giving your three things, give me your attention, your focus, and your concentration, and your time. Give me your time, give me your concentration, give me your focus, and give me your time. You're going to get it with ease. So, but before we actually expatiate on it, let us look at the meaning of each of the tools and how they are used before we now enter it deeply. Yeah, I will start with the discussion of the mathematical tools. When we say mathematical tools, that involves the development of mathematical models. Mathematical models is mathematics model. And the approach that we use in developing the mathematics model is when we use economic decision. And the economic decision that we use actually involve like that of the linear programming. In linear programming, yes, obviously we'll be doing linear programming, we'll be doing transportation model, we'll be doing networking. Those are mathematical models. When we get there, just always remember, come back to the beginning of the class and refresh your memory on that. If you're given any mathematical model or any mathematical issues or any problem involving mathematical problem, what are you going to do? The first thing, you formulate the problem. You should be able to determine your objective in a given problem. What is your objective? Are you minimizing costs or you are maximizing profits? You should be able to know. Having defined the objective, it will make it easier for you to actually formulate your problem. How do you formulate your problem? You formulate the problem involving the variable by using the variables. And the variable that you are going to use will be in that of the word mathematical model. Mathematics as in 2x plus y equal to 2. What is x and y? That is mathematics. Share 5 naira between Chioma and Chidi. What is the ratio? What is the rate of Chioma? What is the ratio of Chidi? That is for you are formulating a problem, representing it with an unknown letter. That is what we know as formulation of problem. Don't think when you hear you formulate the problem, you are going to be finding something that is irrelevant. No, represent it with your unknown letter. After that, find when we tell you 2x equals to 4, find x. That is the formulation that I meant. Okay. So we now refer it to what is called decision variable. And in that decision variable, we are going to talk on the constraint. Constraint means what is hindering the flow of the objective. It might be the production capacity. It might be the supply of labor. It might be the cost efficient. Either of the two is what we can actually use in solving any given constraint. It might be the times of the machinery. That's what we call constraint. Likewise, we also need to establish the optimality. When we say optimality, you mean optimum production. What is the highest, or let me say the possible best you can get out of the given challenges? Let me use a small sample. You are going to school, right? Fine. You go to school. From your school, you go back, you will have to escape the road. If you are, okay, let me say you are living in the hostel. You go to school. From school, you go for tutorial. From tutorial, you are still preparing for ICAN. You are still preparing for your school exam. All these are not much easy, but how can you solve them? What is the best way that you can use to solve your given challenges is what we call optimality. Maybe I go to school. After the school, I first of all read my ICAN, watch my video. After that, go for tutorial. For the tutorial is that of your school tutorial. You already have a video to fall back on your weekend. Don't use it to play. You use your weekend to attend ICAN online tutorial. That is when you are taking the best decision to solve the challenges you are faced. That's what we call optimality. Okay, and your optimality might involve profit maximization or cost minimization. I said that earlier. Which decision am I taking that will result to the highest profits? That is if the objective is to maximize profit. Or which decision am I taking to minimize cost if the objective is to reduce cost? Having determined that, you now develop your model. Your model is represented in the equation. I told you earlier, 2x equals to 4. That is model. Then you perform the analysis. The analysis is what is your x? What does x give you? 2x equals to 4. What is x? X equals to 2. That is your analysis. Okay. So every other one are for you. For the statistical tools, that one involves the use of some statistical models. You will have to draw, because most of the statistical tools is being represented in a diagram. That is why you will see, with the aid of diagram, share 300 oranges between Chidi, Taiwo, and Ridwan. What portion, or what, in the ratio 2:3:5, by Ridwan taking 5, how many oranges will Ridwan get? And represent it in a pie chart. That is statistic for you. All these things that we've stated are so easy. First of all, 2 + 3 + 5 equals to 10. Chidi will get 2/10. Taiwo will get 3/10. Ridwan will get 5/10. So 2/10 multiplied by 300 oranges will give you what? 3/10 multiplied by 300 oranges. It means Taiwo is getting 30 oranges. And Ridwan is going with what? 50 oranges. Or 5 divided by 10, that's 1/4. It's going with 100 oranges. Is that taken? That is statistic model. But this statistic, we now have primary statistic and we have secondary statistics. When we say something is primary, it means it involves primary data. And primary data is usually, mostly, let me say mostly, in 2 ways or 3 ways. It's either you meet the person directly or you search for the information directly. That is primary data. Primary data involves a direct source of information, while secondary involves indirect source of information. All this we are discussing, we shall evaluate, we shall check them when we get to data. Primary data includes interview, telephone conversation, observing something on yourself, observing by yourself, witnessing a scenario. All those are primary source of information. Direct communication. Somebody talked up to you. You gossip directly. Not that you gossip by me telling you. That has become indirect. The one you witness with your eyes, koro, direct. The one where somebody come give you, say, see the story of my life, direct. You call me, hello, your mate, I want to have an interview with you with QT. What is quantitative analysis? That is direct information. We call it primary data. Secondary data are the ones that are indirect. Your mate is telling you that data analysis is, quantitative techniques is all about analysis of data. And somebody is telling you that you might say that is indirect. But in the class, you are collecting the information directly. That is direct, primary. The one you are not in the class are listening to afterward. That one is secondary. And this can further be classified or broken down into descriptive, inferential, and the rest. For descriptive, that one involves the collection, the presentation, the characteristic of data that has already been arranged in a proper form. Descriptive involves when you collect information, you now group it according to the word, to the description. ICAN Online specialize on ICAN and ACCA you are describing. Inferential, that one is when you characterize it according to the population. ICAN Online belongs to a group of ICAN, that is inferential. Now, let us pick them one after the other. Remember that I said statistics involves what? Involves two categories, mathematics and statistics. What I did was just to explain each of those tools. Now, we are picking them one after the other. Like I said, that for the purpose of our class, I shall be starting from what we call statistical tools. Now, I shall start from what? Statistical tools. I call it statistics. And where I will be starting from in statistics is that has been explaining, which is called data. What is data? Can somebody just tell me what data is? Oh, I've actually muted you. Okay. You can drop it on the chat box. What is data? Yes, thank you. I'm seeing some comments. Good of you. Yes, I can see you. Yes, fine. Data is a fact. Confirm. Yeah, data is a raw information that is processed to get information. Good of you. Yes, thank you. Data is a raw fact. Yes, thank you. Oh, brilliant. Data is a, yes, good, brilliant. Data is a raw fact that is processed in order to become information. Brilliant, brilliant. I like that. Okay, yeah. You've all spoken well. When we say data, data are just information that are not being processed. It is when it is data are some facts that has not been processed. It is when it is processed that it's become what? Information. So we can say data are the raw facts that is being needed for investigation, because they are what we collected afresh. We are yet to process it. We are yet to investigate the claim. Okay, let me take a sample. Bola Ahmed Tinubu will be, oh no, that one has declared his intention. Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan will be contesting for presidential election in 2023. That is a fact. But has it been confirmed? The answer is no. Professor Oshibanjo will be contesting for 2023 presidential election under the umbrella of APC. That is a fact. But have you investigated? Have you go further to know if that information is right or not? It has not become information, it is still a speculation. When Bola Ahmed Tinubu, since last 2 years, last 2 years, we are still hearing the rumor Bola Ahmed will be contesting for presidential. But some people are even putting the a banner. They call it BAT, Bola Ahmed Tinubu for president 2023. Until last week, that Bola Ahmed Tinubu declared his intention. And after declaring the intention, it now become information. Breaking news, Bola Ahmed Tinubu makes his intention known to the president, Buhari, Buhari, that he'll be contesting for the presidential 2023. Data is when the information has not been confirmed, when the information has not been processed, when the information are still fresh, when the information are still at the source. And this data can be quantitative or qualitative. It can be much in quantity and it can be genuine or not. Genuinity is what we call qualitative. It is quantitative when the data are set in a numeric value. Quantitative as in 30, 20, 50, 1, 2. An example of the quantitative is the height of objects, is the weight of objects, is the price of goods and services, Is the family expenditure on monthly basis? Oh, Dad, I'll be going back to school next month. I need 30,000 naira. I didn't add that 30,000 naira to the budget for this month. Too. Maybe you should shift it to next month. That is data. And we call it quantitative data. When something has been represented in number, it is called quantitative data. Is that taken? And this statistic, like we said, it can be split into two. We have already discussed about that earlier. So then let me waste much time on that. Still on the quantitative data. I said the quantitative data are called what? Numeric data. Is that not? Oh, I can see people saying yes. Thank you so much for that. And this can further be broken down into discrete and continuous. Numeric just means number. Numeric data means number data. And this number can then be subdivided into discrete and continuous. When we say discrete, discrete is when data uses the word whole numbers. The data values like whole numbers are called what? Discrete. Data you will see in discrete batches means what? In number batches, in whole numbers. An example is the numbers of books in a bookshop, numbers of students in ICAN Tutors, the numbers of registered students with ICAN online class, the numbers of subjects you have determined to write for your ATSWA level, the numbers of paper you are to write in order to become a chartered accountant, the numbers of books you are to read, the numbers of subjects you are registering for, the numbers of registered ATSWA students, HS students. The other one is continuous. Continuous is when a data are in real numbers, and that one can be integers, it can be fraction, it can be decimal. Like height of an object. Height of an object can be, this is an example of height of an object. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Height of an object. And at times it might be weight. 10 kg, 5 kg. This is continuous. It's continuing from 5 to 10 to 15 to 20, like that. That is what we mean by what? That's what we mean by continuous quantitative data. For the quantitative data, it is a set of data which have no numeric. For qualitative, quantitative, you are true. Let's go to qualitative. Like I said earlier, qualitative do not use number values, and they are not represented by numbers. Qualitative is the quality of that data, the quality of a product, the quality of the customer loyalty. What is the quality of our education services to you? What is the quality of the video being given to you to watch? What is the quality of the lecture we are delivering? What is the quality of the lecturers that is taking you? What is the quality of the instructor that is lecturing you? What is the quality of the services that has been rendered? What is the quality of the education that you are? What is the quality of your school in the society? My dear, what is your own quality in discharging the duties? And what is the quality that has been done? What is the quality yet to be done. This quality are not measured in numbers. Only you can tell, oh, if I am to rate them, I will rate them 100%. If I am to give them 1 to 10, you are not representing quality in quantity terms. I don't think you are getting it. What is the quality of our service to you? Kindly rate us 1 to 10. Asking you non-numeric to be represented in numeric value. Because the quality, that's why you will see, if somebody is so excited with your service or with your love, he will not tell you, oh my goodness, the quality of your love cannot be quantified. What do you mean? The quality of the service, of the services can never be quantified. What does it mean? If I'm to give you number, I don't even know the number to give you. It cannot be quantified, that it have no values. It have no number because it is beyond any number you want to give me. But if they now want to take a measurement, they will now say, kindly use number to quantify it. 1 to 10, oh my God, I give you 11 over 10. I give you 10 to 10. I give you 5-star rate. That is qualitative data. Qualitative data is non-numeric. It does not use numeric. Is that taken? And that can further be classified into the following. We have ordinal non-numeric. We have nominal non-numeric. We have the rest. For the ordinal non-numeric, is where the data scale that is being ranking is allowed. An example can be the beauty contest judgment. Example can be you go for an interview. When you go for an interview, 3 people are interviewing you. And they now use an ordinal non-numeric. They will now tell you that based on your performance for the interview, yeah, we see that you perform brilliantly, but we are so sorry we cannot take you. Oh, you have performed wonderfully well. We are happy to congratulate you that with this company we hire you. And we are starting with you with a salary scale of 5 million naira. Hey, that is what? Ordinal non-numeric. For the nominal, when we say nominal, nominal means original value. Nominal means real. When a data are being collected based on the word classification or groups, that's why we have nominal accounts, a group of accounts. For example, level of education. What is your level of ICAN? ATSWA. We have ATSWA, we have ATS2, we have ATS3, we have skills, we have professional. Nominal non-numeric is your own category. What category are you? ATS2. That's why if you look at here, we have level ATS2. Okay. I haven't said that. The data that we source, I said it is classified into primary and secondary data. And for the primary data, I've told you it involves direct source of information, while secondary data is indirect source of information. For the primary data, which is direct source of information, That one actually includes initial investigation, asking a question, which you call personal interview or direct interview, like that, like that. And its advantages includes, it allows for details and accurate information to be collected. When you are collecting the information directly, my dear, it will be so accurate and it will be detailed. You come to me to ask me a question, I will give you the information if I'm willing to share. The best way that you will get it, rather than reading my information on the website. Let's take, for instance, if you go to the social media to ask for my information, you will get, but all what you are going to get will be what? Secondary. You don't know if I have changed some certain things. Likewise, you do not know if some certain levels has been changed. Whereas you will still be banking on the information you source on the internet, which may not even be genuine. So the method used for direct information is made known. They are going to tell you the method that is used to source for the information, whether it is through telephone conversation or it is through interview. Likewise, information for the primary data is reliable. And the other one is secondary data. Secondary data are the other one that is being obtained, which are not direct. Any other source of information that are not direct are called secondary data. Secondary data are very cheap because you do not have to travel anywhere. You do not have to meet the person. You do not have to check for the time. The person do not have to schedule you any interview. What you are using is just to source online or to source from any available source. And for the data, the advantages of secondary data is that it is very cheap and it is readily available and it's not consuming time. But the disadvantages is that it is not reliable. You can't rely on secondary data. It might mislead you. If you check majority of people on LinkedIn, what they didn't achieve, they will tell you they achieve it. Invite them and meet them directly. You will hear that one is for social media. That's why you will see some people on social media today, the life that they are living is called a fake life. If you rely on it, it misleads you. That is why secondary information is not misleading. If you really want to know the true color of that person, go and visit him at home. That is primary information. And every secondary is not accurate. Take note of that. I haven't talked about that. The other one we have is internal and external sources. Remember, your own statistic is not scientific. It is business statistic, like I said. Internal data is when the data is being generated from within the company. Anything that pertaining to the where that information is being carried out is called internal. External is when you use other source, which is outside the organization. And the internal sources that we collected data from in an organization actually include like invoice, the work schedule, sales receipts. After receipt and invoice, you can look at their schedule. You can look at the employee's book, like that, like that. But for the external sources, the data are collected outside the organization. And that one, you know, if it is external, it's not that reliable. I haven't talked about the sources of data and how data are being generated. Let us quickly look at the method that which we use to collect data, otherwise known as method of data collection. Majorly, the practicing method of collecting data includes interview, questionnaire, observation, by experiment, or through document or report. Interview is a direct source of information. Questionnaire is a direct source of information. Observation is a direct source of information. Document or report is indirect, which is secondary. Experimental, if it is direct experiment, is primary. Indirect experiment is secondary. And I explained everything here. Okay. Excuse me, are we together? Fine, thank you. I'm getting that, yes. Having collected information and data, like I said earlier, we now represent it in what we call table. In presenting it in a table, what do we mean by tabular representation? Okay. When we say tabular representation or tabular representation, is when you present data in a table form. Presenting data in a table form is what we call tabular presentation. And the tabular presentation is a table that is more detailed than the information in the text presentation. And it is brief, whereas it is self-explanatory. A simple table will only use a single set of items, which include dependent variable and that of this other independent variable. But a complex table, that will have a number of items that have been presented, and it will have subdivision. And that is what we usually use this thing for. And that is where your data analysis come to play. An example can actually be found. A typical example of a simple table is what is being represented here. Let's say in a school, we have a department which includes accountancy department, business admin, marketing, banking, and finance. And the numbers of students in each class has been given as follows: 60, 50, 40, 50. Altogether makes what? 200 students in a class. Out of the 200 students in a class, this is a table. As you can see, that is a table. From this table, they have already made the data much easier for us. Now, let us start performing our mathematical models. In the next 1 minute, let us quickly look at it. So we have Department of Accountancy, 60 students, Business Admin, 50 students, Marketing, 40 students, Banking and Finance, 50 students. Altogether, we are having 200 students in a class. Let us now use this table. This is how a table looks like. You can see. How do we now formulate frequency table? Table is not just table. It must include some other information. And part of it is what we regarded to as frequency table. When we say frequency, frequency is the numbers of time a data occurred in a given set. The number of time data occurred in a given information. What do I mean? Let's assume that I have 1 to 5, 1, 2, 3 to 5. And I have 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, 4, 5. How many times did 1 appear? This is what I said. I have 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, 4, 3, 5. This is number 1 to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But how many times did 1 appear? Let's count together. 1, 2, 3. 1 has appeared 3 times. So the frequency of 1 is what? 3. The frequency of 1 is what? 3. How many times does 2 occur? You only have 1 time. So the frequency of 2 is 1. How many times did 3 occur? 1, 2, 2 times. The frequency of 3 is 2. How many times did 4 occur? 1. The frequency of 4 is 1. How many times did 5 appear? 1. The frequency of 5 is 1. That's what we call frequency. I hope and believe it's clear, right? If the answer is yes, that is frequency. Let's go further in our data. Let us play around the data that we have. We have group data and ungrouped data. Ungrouped data, as the name implies, is when the data is scattered. We do not group it, we just scatter the thing. That's what you call ungrouped data. And ungrouped data is usually shows in 1 to 3 columns with frequency as many times, with frequency in a given data. What I mean by frequency means in numbers of times a data might occur or a number might appear in a given information. Let's take, for instance, the marks scored by 20 candidates out of 10 marks in a quiz competition were as follows: 6, 7, 4, 5, 6, 4, 5, 8, 7, 6, 9, 8, 4, 6, 5, 7, 6, 5, 8, 7. That is the mark that is scored by 20 students out of the 10 marks. Count. Is the marks up to 20? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. As you can see, the mark is for 20 students. It must give you that 20 because that is the information that is given. Now, how many students score 6? How many students score 7? How many students score 4? How many students score 8? That is the question. You will now solve. If you like, You can arrange your data, your number in ascending or descending form. Ascending. Ascending means from lowest to highest. Descending means opposite. Highest to lowest. Okay. Having said that, let us arrange it in ascending order so that we have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 is the highest score, right? No 10. Suppose there is 10, you put 10. Now, we are counting together. I hope you are with me. Type yes if you are with me. Okay, good of you. I'm so sure everybody is with me, right? Oh yeah, so let us do it together. Okay, so how many times did 4 occur? Oh yeah, type it in the chat box. Yes, yes. Okay. Yes, yes. I'm impressed. Oh yeah, let us do it together because of others. How many times did 4 occur? We are counting. 1, 2, don't jump, just be moving line by. Wait, let me erase this this 9 that I've done here. Let me erase this one so that it will not cause confusion. Okay. So how many times did 4 occur in a given data? Yeah, let's go. 1, I'm moving from the first row, don't jump. 2, nothing there again. 3, nothing there again. That is what? 3 times. You can see 3. Let's do it here. Solution. We have 4, 5. This is score. This is frequency. 6, 7, 8, 9. So 4, we've counted what? 3 times. Yeah, let's go again. Let's cancel that. How many times did 5 occur? Yeah, let's count. For 5. Oh. Let's count for 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let me put this one so that if there's anything that we didn't check at the end, we know. So 5 appears in 4 times, right? This will be 4. Next, 6. How many times did 6 occur? 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is 5, right? 5. How many times did 7 appear? You still go again. We are on 7. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 times. How many times did 5 appear? Yeah, let's go. How many times did, where do we stop? We've done 5 and 6. Where are we? How many times did 8 appear? We are in 8. Yeah, let's count. 8. 1, 2, 3. 8 appear 3 times, right? 8 3 times. So 9. 9 is how many times? 1. No, that one. And everything has been covered. So 9 appear 1 time. Is that taken? If you like, you can find the total of the frequency. This score can also be called X. F can also be called F. We can go further to perform every other calculation after this. But now, let us go because of time. That's how I've gotten this. That is on group data. For group data, if you are given a data and we are asked to calculate, to find anything in a group data, we are going to use what you call the class interval. We are going to use what you call class interval. Class interval is also what you call range. Maybe 1 to 4, 5 to 9, 10 to 11. Like that. In a class interval, you must not miss it. Okay? So let us go. Let us take a sample. Say, let's say 5 to 8 classes. The class which should have 5 or multiple of 5 to allow for easy manipulation. If you actually want to do any class interval, at least endeavor that you have minimum of 5 interval between the data. For example, I said classes must not be of the for 5 to 10, nothing like this. Please avoid using 5 to 10, 10 to 15. No. If it is 5 to 10, the next one will be what? 11 to 15. Followed by what? 16 to 20. Followed by 21 to 25. Nothing like 5 to 10, 10 to 15, 15 to 20, 20 to 25. Nothing like that. Check your class interval very well and endeavor that you've done the right thing. Another measurement there is the use of tally. Is the use of tally. What do we call tally? Tally is represented by stroke. When you do like this, this is tally. That is tally. Tally is represented with stroke. Okay? And the general advantage of the tally method is that you will go through the data only once. And it removes confusion which may arise from each observation. Let's take, for instance, the daily sales figure that is given in thousands of a supermarket has been drawn as follows. If you look at the data, you will see that though we can start finding the numbers of 12, start finding the numbers of 33 and the rest, but you might not get the accurate calculation. And this, we are now going to use what you call a group data to analyze. This we are going to use what? A group data to analyze. In analyzing it, we are going to use what we call class interval. So let's get started. The question has even provided that we should use a class interval of 11 to 20, 21 to 30, like that, 11 to 20, 21 to 30, 31 to 40, 41 to 50, to construct a frequency table. So we are following that trend to construct a frequency table. Is that taken? So let us start. Have you gone through the question? All right. If you've gone through it, we will solve together now. Okay. Look at the data. Oh yeah, let's solve. You will create your table interval. But before you create it, what is the highest figure here? The highest figure here is 49. Oh, sorry, not 49. We have 58. Do we have 60? The answer is no. So our interval should be our class interval. Frequency. We will now use a tally this time. 11 to 20, 21 to 30, 31 to 40, 41 to 50. It passes 50, 51 to 60. Now, you will not be counting the figure. You will count. From 11 to 20, how many can we find there? Yeah, let's count. From 11 to 20, let me first of all erase this cycle. Anyway, we see 11 to 20. 1, 2, 11 to 20. That's just what? Just to write frequency to tally. Or you may slant it. 21 to 30, how many? (21 to 30). (21 to 30). We have 1. Oh, how did I miss 18? Wait, oh, let's go again. Oh. 11 to 20. 1, 2, 11 to 20. 11 to 20. 3, 11 to 20. 4. 1, 2, 3, 11 to 20. 4 is 4. 11 to 20 is 4, not 2. Sorry for that. It's 4. 21 to 30. I will not erase my, if you are working it, you can use your pen, but pencil is best. 21 to 30, 1, 2, 21 to 30, 3, 4, 5, 6, 21 to 30, 7, 8, 21 to 30 is 8, right? Check it very well, Lou. We are working together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What of 31 to 40? 31 to 40. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Allez, 31 to 30. 1, 2, 3, 4. 31. 31 to 40 now. 31 to 40. 31 to 40. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. This is 13. Right, 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now, 41 to 50. You're going to find 41 to 50. 41 to 50. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 41 to 50. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6. I don't miss 124 here. 7, 8, 9, 10. 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That 10 is complete. And 51 to 60. 51 to 60. 1, 2, 3, 4. That is 4. But there's one figure here. There's 124 here that I did not remember to circle. And this one fall between 21 to 30. Go and add this 24 to it. So maybe this one should have been 9. This one should have been 9. So that is how to actually do, you can see, 5, 9, 14, 7, 5. That is how to actually do class limit and the rest. After the class limit, we now do what we call class boundary. Okay. We've done the class limit. If I ask you that, which one is the lower limit or the upper limit? This is the upper limit, and this is the lower limit. Okay. This is upper, this is lower. This is lower, this is upper. That is upper limit and lower limit. Let's assume that the question states that, look at the note. I have my class limit. The first number in a class is called the lower limit, while the second one is called the what? Upper class limit. Don't forget, lower, upper, upper, lower. Lower, upper. Okay. For example, the lower limit of the third class. What is the third class? 1, 2, 3. The third class is 31 to 40. 31 to 40. 31 to 40 is the third class. If the question is, what is the lower limit of the third class? You just come here. Lower limit is 31. And the upper limit is what? Is 40. Is that taken? Haven't done that. We also have class boundary. And the class boundary is usually, the lower class boundary is the addition with the upper boundary, then divided by the 2. Class boundary is 11 plus 20 divided by 2, 21 plus 30 divided by 2, 31 plus 40 divided by 2, 51 plus 60 divided by 2. That one will give you class boundaries. If you have 11 plus 20 divided by 2. 11 plus 20 will give you 31. 31 divided by 2 will give you what? 15.5. The same thing for the others. Okay? I hope we are together. I haven't talked about the upper class boundary and the lower class boundary. Subsequently, we also have what you call class size, or we call it width. And the class size is the difference between the boundaries. For example is the difference between second class boundary and the first class boundary is called class width or class size. 21 plus 30 divided by 2 minus 11 plus 20 divided by 2 is called class width. We also have what we call midpoint. And the midpoint of everything, that one is addition. 41 plus 20 divided by what? 2. It will give you what you call midpoint. The midpoint is synonymous to what you call class boundary. After that is what we call cumulative frequency mode. For cumulative frequency mode, let me quickly use this to explain. We have gotten the frequency for the class interval of 11 to 20, 21 to 30, 31 to 40, and 41 to 50 to be 5, 9, 14, 17, and 5 respectively. Cumulative frequency will be addition of the frequency. You cumulate, you aggregate. 5 minus nothing, that will be 5. 9 plus 5 will give you what? 14. 14 plus 14 will give you 28. 7 plus 28 will give you 35. 35 plus 5 will give you what? 40. If you look at the question, we were told the data we are given is 40. You see, the data is what? 40 days. That is how to calculate for the word cumulative. I haven't done the cumulative. That is how to calculate for class boundary, class width, class size, and class boundary with cumulative frequency. Any question on that before we move on? If yes, kindly drop a chat, because at the end of the class, we are going to look at the end of the class, I shall be entertaining questions. But for now, if you have any question, kindly do well to drop it on the chat box. Okay? So let's move on. Let us go to what we call diagram. We have seen, and by now I so much believe that we now have understanding of data, we now have understanding of frequency, and we know how to even calculate upper class boundary and lower class limit. Likewise, we understand what we call class size, and we can calculate them, right? Okay, let's quickly go to diagram so that we can represent all this data in a diagram. Diagram, in a simple sense, is just the picture of the data that you are given. All this data that we've calculated, the picture of it is what you call diagram. And diagram is usually the relationship that is, it shows the relationship between the variables. And we have different types of diagram that we use to present information. We use charts and we use graph. To use charts, we have bar charts. And bar chart is just like this. Okay, I have everything here. bar chart is just a diagrammatic representation that shows the cost as well as the what? Quantity. It shows the quality and the quantity in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like this. Bar is always on a straight line like this. I have 1, I have 2 years, and maybe this one is 1996, like that, or this one is 200 naira, this one is 3. This is what you call bar charts. Okay. In bar chart is just a rectangular representative, as you can see. We use it to represent an information, and it can be simple bar chart, or it is component bar chart, or it can also be percentage bar chart, and can also be multiple bar chart. Multiple is when you join 1 or 2 bar charts together to represent information. After the bar chart, we also have what we call pie chart. Pie chart looks like this. Is pie chart. Pie chin chin. This is cake, this is bread, and this is wheat. This is bread is 50%, this is 30, this is 20. This is what you call pie chart. We now have Z chart, or you call it Z chart. Z chart is, don't worry, I have everything for you here in your study notes. Z chart is like this. This is Z chart. Likewise, we have Gantt chart. But majorly for the purpose of your exam, just focus on pie chart and bar chart. Over the time, that's where what ICAN usually specialized on. Another one is what you call graph. All of you, you know graph. When you are doing your SSCE, in WAEC, in NECO, when you are using graph to represent information, obviously, we are going to use it under linear programming and the rest too. Drawing graph involves, graph is also like this. This is one graph. We also have another graph that we draw your demand curve graph. Remember, so that is graph. And graph also, all these things shows the relationship through the means of curve or a straight line. Just as I've shown to you, is how we draw graph. And for graph, we also have simple bar graph, and we also have multiple bar graph. This is the example of graph. Remember the department of school that I gave you, which have a capacity of 60, which is 200. Let's now assume that I want to represent them in a data. This is a bar graph. You can see accountancy is having what? 60. Look and where. Accountancy is having 60, this is having 50, marketing 40, banking and finance 50. So this is the department, accountancy BA, marketing, banking and finance. A for accountancy, accountancy carry what? 60. This is the 60. Biz admin 50, this is the 50. Marketing 40, this is the 40. Biz admin 50, that is the 50. You now have your key. Key means what you give the examiner, what you've used here. A, I've used A for accountancy. I've used BA for biz admin. I've used M for marketing. I've used BF for banking and finance. That is the key. Okay. This is the multiple bar chart. As you can see, multiple bar chart includes what is the numbers of male students we have in accountancy, what is the numbers of female. You also have the key here. as represented. After that, you have component bar chart. Component bar chart will include the total, male, female total, just as we have there. Another bar chart is the one that I mentioned is that of the percentage. For the percentage, what is the percentage of male in accountancy? What is the percentage of male in banking and finance? What is the percentage of female in accountancy? What is the percentage of female? To find the percentage, first, what is the total? 40 plus 30, this one is 70. 20 plus 10, this one is 30. Male will give you 40 out of the total 70 multiplied by what? 100%. This will give you what? 57. Do the same for female. 30 over 70 times 100%. It will give you 43. Go to banking and finance. 20 over 30 multiplied by 100. It will give you what? 67%. 10 over 30 multiplied by 100 will give you what? 33%. To find the total of male in both accountancy and banking, will just be what? 40 plus 20, that is what? 60. 30 plus 10, that is what? 40. All together 100. Is that taken? And I represent them in a chart. I haven't done that. This is the calculation that I've done for you. Okay, for BISADMIN and for everything. If you are representing it in a pie chart, just put the percentage. I don't want to determine that. Just put the percentage like this, like this, like that. That is all. So every other one are the other types of charts that we have. Because of the purpose of our class, I shall continue from here in our next class by starting with sampling techniques. Because in other sampling techniques, we will have to take it further and examine the different techniques that we have in doing sampling. So my dear professional, kindly ask your question. Thank you before I go to my question. It's time for your question. Ask question. Yes, you can unmute yourself now and ask question. You can unmute yourself and... Okay. Since there's no question, I shall continue from here in our next class. I haven't done that. Please feel free to go through the question that has been forwarded to you. And some questions that I expected you to answer during the course of our class is, in summary, you have seen that data are raw facts that can either be numeric or non-numeric. And it's classified according to the types, according to the method of the collection, and according to the form of presentation. We have also seen that data can be represented in forms of a frequency, where we said the frequency is the numbers of time that a data occurred in a given information. And data collection method that we have is basically three. We have primary data, we have secondary data, and we have internal or external data. But primarily, we have two methods of data collection, which is primary and secondary data collection. The primary data involves the direct collection of data, which can be through personal interview, through questionnaire, or through meeting with that, or through telephone conversation. I call it through telephone. While the secondary source of data includes sourcing from the internet, through documents, through newspaper, through information. Having said that, we also discussed that we have different types of representation of information, which includes pie chart, bar chart, and we have pie chart, we have bar chart, and we also have graph. You represent all these pie chart, bar chart, and graph are a diagram. They are the diagram that we use to represent our information. so that it will be useful for interpretation and decision-making purposes. And the next to observe is what we call is our sampling techniques. And we shall continue from there in our next class. The question for you to take home includes the process that ensures that element of the population is known, is being selected, is called what? All these questions are to assess your understanding. Since there's no question at the moment, may I have your permission to continue from here in our next class? Thank you for your time. I wish you good understanding, retentive memory, and best of luck in your examination. Please feel free to ask questions anytime on the platform. I'm always available to attend to your requests, always at your service. Thank you. See you in next class. Please do not hesitate to watch the video and ask questions where required. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.